but he was gaining control of the game for United, and they almost gained territorial advantage, and then they get the goal, and then after that you get two stalwarts at the back in Mulgrew and Edwards, who don't look as if they're going to concede. They look as if they enjoy the art of defending, and I've been really impressed with them so far.
Yeah, Callum McGregor's been fantastic. Some of the clearances, Ryan Edwards, I know he made it at the weekend, as you touched on there, also against Rangers, he was outstanding. In terms of Hibs, John, potentially stronger than they were last season, albeit they have a couple of key players out injured at the moment.
Yeah, they're stronger, Kenny, in the way they've probably gelled together. They all know their individual jobs, they know what Jack's looking for. You can see how solid a base they have now. I mean, you take out Doig tonight and you've got Stevenson coming in. He's not a bad replacement, is it?
Yeah.
But even like Macy, the goalkeeper, you see the saves he made against Hearts and Edinburgh Derby a couple of weeks ago. But not only that, I think when you see on Saturday when they bring in Scott Allen back into the fold and they rave about his performance after that's a hungry player who's got proven ability at this level, and someone to call upon when you need it. They've got strength and depth this season, they have.
Yeah, a player that was almost out the door on a couple of occasions this past year or so. We'll discuss the game more in a few minutes' time. Let's hear now from the Hibs manager, Jack Ross. He's been speaking with Brian.
Well, Jack, let's talk about the team first of all. A couple of changes from the weekend. Talk us through them.
First of all, Scott Allen coming in to start. I think he impacted the game really, really well at the weekend, coming on at half-time. I think he's earned that right to start the game tonight. And then I think Lewis Stevenson has actually been in really good form this season, probably a little bit unfortunate to come out of the team when Josh Doig came back in. Got another game on Sunday, quick turnaround, so with that in mind as well, we've picked a team that we think is right to win tonight's game.
Is it an ideal time to rest Josh, because he's been playing an awful lot of football, international football as well recently?
I think just as we did last year, I think we picked the right moments, but we've also got a player to compete and to play in that position that is not just wholly reliable, but is actually a very, very good footballer. You know, to play the number of games at a club of this size that Lewis has and be the only player to win the two domestic cups in history shows how good a player he is. So, it's not just about resting Josh. I think it's about Lewis earning the opportunity to play.
We're getting to the ticklish stage of these cup competitions, Jack. You like getting there though, don't you, to the semi-finals and finals? It's what Hibs have become used to in recent seasons.
Yeah, they have. Certainly since I came here, I think we've been 4 cup competitions. We've been involved in the 2 semi-finals, a final, and now a quarters, and that's it's terrific consistency. I think we accept that the criticism comes when you don't go that either the stage further at the final to win the competition, but we've certainly been good in the cups in terms of the consistency getting to latter stages, and that's a huge motivation for us tonight, is to get back to Hampden.
How different a proposition this season are United under Thomas Courts?
I still think they were tough to play against last year when Mickey was here. I don't think there was ever an easy game we felt as if we had against them. I think when a new manager comes in, he tries to put his own stamp on things, and I think he's done that along with changing his backroom staff as well, which has an impact. And certainly within this stadium, they've enjoyed a couple of outstanding results in terms of beating Rangers, and obviously winning a derby match, which are tough in their own right. So I think we know we're coming into a really tough game tonight. You come away from home in the Premiership team, in the quarter-finals, it's a tough match.
The thoughts of Jack Ross here. Let's now hear from the United boss, Thomas Courts, also with Brian.
Tam, has the euphoria from Sunday calmed down a little bit?
I think it has, and I did actually say that in my kind of debrief to the players on Sunday, that we're going to enjoy, the derby victory, but because this game came around so quickly and it was a big week for us, I really wanted to see us moving on quickly, training well, focusing on Hibs, and I'm pleased to say that the boys seem really kind of focused, and there's a fair bit of intent tonight in terms of what we want to try to do.
You're taking on a team who have been flying this season as well. It's a cup tie though, it's different though, isn't it, with a winner take all basically and trying to get to Hampden.
Yeah, and to be fair, Hibs have been a good cup team for quite some time just now, and they'll obviously have aspirations of getting back to Hampden themselves. You're right, they're in good form, but I think this is going to be an interesting match-up tonight. I think we're in decent form, we're at home, we'll have another healthy support here. Made a few changes just to kind of freshen up, but I think this one's kind of set up to be a really intriguing encounter.
We'll speak about the changes in a second, but I think it's only 2 wins in 18 against Hibs.
Right.
That's quite an interesting record. How do you overcome that?
Yeah, I think it's just take the game on each merit. I think Hibs, when you look at them closely, you can see why they've been so successful. They've got some brilliant individual quality. They're a team that's been on a journey together. We're probably just starting our journey, but also in the same token, I think we're taking some big strides. We're really starting to progress towards the team that we want to be, and I think we'll have quite a lot that Hibs need to be wary of tonight, but likewise they'll have the same.
And the 4 changes you make, you include bringing Trevor Carson back in goal, You've got two top-class goalkeepers here. Is it going to be week by week? How will you play it?
No, I think there has to be some stability there, both for the goalkeepers and for the defensive unit. But I think in terms of my justification for taking Trevor out, it was almost a nod of acknowledgement that he is a top goalkeeper. You could argue that, you know, there was no merit for taking him out for a Dundee derby, but that's a decision that I took. I think it was the right one for the occasion, but I also wanted to recognise that he is a top goalkeeper and he deserves to play on a stage like tonight. So he's got his own opportunity now to kind of stake his own claim.
Are they both vying for the number 1 jersey then, or do you have a preferred option?
No, I think they're both vying. They're two top-class goalkeepers. Benji served the club so well, will continue to, and Trevor was brought in to push him, you know, every step of the way, and that's what he's doing, and he's got a platform tonight.
Yeah, Thomas Coates there, John. No doubt a surprise appointment, I think it's fair to say, at the time, but he's done a really good job, hasn't he? Oh, Doug and John there. Let's go to the guys at Celtic Park, just listening to the lads there and hearing from the two managers, Yogi, just saying there about Tam Courts. He was a surprise appointment at the time, but he's off to a very, very good start.
Yep, and everyone deserves that chance, and as I say, it was that Rangers result that's really sort of galvanised them and got them going, and then he's trying to get his own stamp on it, you know. Good enough interview, very positive, and got a great belief in his team. And Dundee United at Tannadice, Dundee United playing always in a game, and we mentioned the two centre-backs, Edwards and Mulgrew, you can build a team around they two. Interesting with the goalkeeper one with Seagrest. I think he's going to get a hard time because he's not signing a new contract, and so he'll find himself in and out until he does that. But he's probably the better goalkeeper out of them all.
He is a good goalkeeper, eh?
Very, very good. He's the best goalkeeper. I was surprised, really, a Celtic or Rangers, something like that, never come in for him. I think he's that good.
So why do you think he's going to get a hard time if he's the best goalkeeper? You've got to pick your best goalkeeper.
Because he's not signing a contract. The whispers I'm hearing that, you know, he's sort of just playing it out and he's looking to move on. So, you know what happens, Hill.
It keeps the manager in a job, don't it?
Yeah, but you can sit well, that's it. Okay. So you sit on the bench, but he's back in tonight, and I'm quite sure, you know, he'll be a busy goalkeeper.
Yeah, big game at Tannadice. Both 7:45 kickoffs. Also a huge game, our commentary match, Celtic against Raith Rovers. We brought you the news last night, all the coverage from the first two quarter-finals, Rangers and the holder St Johnstone through to the semi-finals. That draw, we will have that for you later in the programme. But let's break away for a few minutes and talk about an incident that took place during last night's game, just up the street actually at Dens. It involved the Dundee striker Lee Griffiths. Talk us through what happened, Brian, and the statements we've had today.
Yeah, the incident happened after St Johnstone's opening goal from the St Johnstone end where their supporters were last night. There was a pyrotechnic thrown onto the pitch, amongst other things I understand as well, and Lee Griffiths ran up towards the pyrotechnic and kicked it, and it ended up back in the stand. It said as well that there was some verbal abuse being towards Lee Griffiths for the majority of last night. Now, Dundee Football Club today said they would like to address what they called a regrettable incident, and in the statement they said following the opening goal, a smoke generator amongst other items was thrown onto the park by the visiting supporters. A pyrotechnic ended up back in the stand as Lee kicked it to remove it from the field of play. Lee said of the incident, and I quote, "It was regrettable that the pyrotechnic ended up back in the stands, as my intention was just to remove it from the pitch. Having just lost a goal, I was eager to get the match restarted as quickly as possible, and I would like to apologise for any distress caused by this action. The club will be making no further comment on this situation." Now, the match kicked off. Now, just prior to the match kicking off, referee Stephen McLean did have a chat with Lee Griffiths, but we don't know what was said. We don't know what any of the officials actually witnessed as well on the evening. I spoke to Police Scotland earlier on today. They gave us this statement. They said we are aware of an incident involving a small number of smoke devices at Dens Park during the match between Dundee and St Johnstone football clubs on Wednesday night. There were no injuries and no complaints have been made to the police at this stage. Inquiries into the matter are continuing. I've spoken with the SFA and the SPFL today. No comment as yet from either on what happened, and it may be they'll be waiting on both the referees and the match delegates' report before deciding on any comment or indeed whether any disciplinary action will be forthcoming.
OK, thanks, Brian. This specific case, Pat, is currently being looked into, but we can speak generally about the abuse players receive and how they deal with that.
Well, you know, I'm not a player anymore, thank God, that's for sure, because, you know, any little thing now is picked up, and it's going to be all over social media, people making comments on it and so on. I didn't see the incident last night, so I can't really comment on what I think. John, you did see it, so you can maybe talk through the incident. But in general, I think you've got to be almost so well behaved now. You've got to be a saint, really. You can't do anything. But, you know, Lee Griffiths will always be maybe a guy who has to walk the tightrope, let's put it that way, and whatever he does, no matter where he goes, whatever club he's at, he'll always be in the middle of controversy, unfortunately, for him, and that's been sort of probably built up over the years for him. So he has to watch everything he does from that perspective. In general, I think players nowadays, they get paid well, they have a responsibility, they're role models for young people, so they have to you know, act in that way, in a responsible way. But it is a tough environment that they live in, because we didn't have that social media part of it, and we got away with murder, I'll tell you, at times.
If we keep this general, Yogi, you know, Charlie Adam was in the studio a few weeks ago, and he was telling us about the abuse that comes. It comes in many forms, he said. It can be very, very personal, very, very hurtful. But I guess the players, they have a duty, if we can call it that, not to react. Yeah,
100%, Kenny. You have to have, you know, you need to be cool. And there's a simple equation on this. If he side foots it just off the side of the pitch, great. Let me ask you this question. Would they have put the laces through it the way he did if he was kicking that into his own fans? I very much doubt it. It's kicking that into the St Johnstone fans, and he's kicking it in frustration. He should have just went up. Yeah, I know he was wanting to get the game started. He should have just went up and just rolled it off the pitch, put the side on it, and that's you have to be cool, and that's what you have to do. But Griff's one of these players, you know, he plays on that. He plays on, you know, getting the stick, getting a little bit of abuse, and 9 times out of 10 he puts the ball in the back of the net, and hopefully, in the not too distant future, we'll get Lee Griffiths scoring goals again for Dundee.
Yeah, he was very clear, as Brian said there, John, in his statement, you know, that it wasn't intentional. He just meant to clear it off the park to get the game restarted again. So as we said, there is an inquiry into this. Just finally on this, John, how did you deal with this as a player? How did you manage to block it out? Because there are some games, you can hear it all, can't you?
Well, 100%. You can hear it all, but you just need to keep your focus and keep your concentration. I just used to laugh and smile. That's the way I played my.
You love controversy, John.
Yeah, part of the parcel. 9 times out of 10, let me tell you, see if they're hammering you and getting stuck into you, you're doing something right.
Yeah. Well, we've been speaking generally here, but as Brian told us earlier, there is a police inquiry into what went on at Dens Park last night, so no doubt more to come on that in the coming days and weeks. Let's return then to our main focus tonight, the League Cup quarter-finals. Let's get back to you, John Rankin, at Tannadice. What are you expecting tonight? Do you think you could be in for a long night there?
After watching Dundee United on Sunday, I think it could be a long night. I think defensively they're very solid. They don't give away many goals. I think they'll try and let Hibs dominate possession. That's what they do, Kenny. United aren't a possession-based side at the moment. I think they're more of a frustrate your opponent team and then see what they can score in the break. They don't score many goals. They don't concede a lot either. So I think it will be a long night. Depending on you see Jack Ross's team selection. He's got Scott Allen in the pitch. He's got Boyle in the pitch for pace, and he's got Nisbet who can finish. It might just be come down to one goal tonight again, as what it was on Sunday. And for me tonight, it will be depending on how many chances the Hibs can create. It will be if they can take one. It won't be a lot of chances in this game. I don't see anyway. And as Tam Courts rightly said, he's put Carson in goals tonight. I think Mickey Mellon's team is built in the solid foundation, and Tom Courts has just took it to a new level. We add in that Steely mentality and also getting results. So I see this one being really sticky, but I think, as I said at the beginning, I think Hibs could just edge it tonight.
Yes, no doubt it's going to be a tight one there. John and Brian are at Tannadice for us. In terms then of the game, Pat, that you'll be watching this evening at Celtic Park, how do you see this one going?
Well, I think Celtic must be hot favourites for sure. They have to get over that result at the weekend. They've got to put a performance and get the result tonight. There's not a huge crowd here, but there's enough crowd in here from what we've been used to all year that will get behind their team. But if they don't put the performance in, or if Raith Rovers end up maybe sneaking something, then they can actually turn against them very, very quickly. But I would expect on the front foot tonight, Celtic, high tempo, pressing Raith Rovers, hoping to get that early goal.
Interesting to see, Pat, if Giacomakis gets his debut. We've been waiting a while for this.
Yeah.
He's a player that comes with a big reputation. He's no doubt he's a prolific goal scorer. They have him ready now, perhaps not ready to start this evening, but he's a player that could be very important in the coming weeks, with Kyogo out for a good few weeks yet.
Yeah, I think they've got to try to get him on the pitch sometime tonight. I would be surprised if they don't, because there's no point being on the bench. You've got to get in there, you've got to get your match fitness up, and that's actually affected a lot of the players within the team at this moment in time, because they come into the club so late on, that they're still trying to find their feet and find that match fitness. But the only way you can do it is by playing games, and so I expect them to come in tonight, and let's then make up our mind about him, because I don't know too much about him. But when you perform out here, you've got to, as a striker, you've got to put the ball in the back of the net for sure.
Have you enjoyed watching Celtic under Ange Postecoglou? John, you touched on it there, of course, the 3 away defeats in the league this season, but some of these performances at home, with Kyogo on the side, granted, they've been excellent.
Yeah, absolutely different class, and that looked like to be his team. Being with McGregor sitting, Turnbull and Rogic in front, just taking it on, playing in the wee half on between the lines. Kyogo up top, and the 2 wingers that are playing tonight, that'll be it. And I've always said that even that, great going forward, can look after the ball. Kyogo's a big miss, but as a team, they need to be more resolute and defend from the front as a team. And stop giving the goals away.
Yeah, I think Kenny, Raith Rovers will be looking at the game of the weekend, and they'll be looking at the way Celtic push the fullbacks into the middle of the pitch. Now, that can be a very positive one for Celtic, because they outnumber the opposition if they get plenty control on the game, and then isolating the fullbacks 1v1 with the wingers. But it also can be a negative in the way that Livingston exploited the weekend, when they got the ball wide quickly into the space where the fullbacks leave, and then ended up almost with a 1v1 in the middle of the pitch when one of the centre halves were pulled out of position. So I think they'll be looking at tonight, especially the way they'll be set up. They'll be set up with a 4-5-1, and maybe the wide guys will have to do a job. Do they do a job on the inside with breaking out into those areas? The young boy, I'm looking forward to seeing him up front, Varan, that they signed from Stoke. He's a young boy from Republic of Ireland, Cork. He's only 19 years old, and he'll have a big job tonight to really hold the ball up and get the players up to support him. So I'm looking forward to seeing him.
See, speaking of the Celtic fullbacks, Pat, no doubt there was a bit of surprise at Livingston on Sunday, with Bolingoli making his first start since August of last year. How do you think he did? Do you see a future for him at Celtic?
Well, the manager must see a future when he's in the squad. He's getting paid, so absolutely he comes in. He's not the manager of the past, so whatever's gone by, and most managers do that. They look at the full squad and say, well, what do I have? What players will benefit me if I have them in? He's on the bench tonight. He came in at the weekend, but he's another one that's not match fit. I'm sure he hasn't played too many matches. And they're trying to find their match fitness in training. So training now needs to be absolutely important. It needs to be almost like game reality, and they've got to have the tempo up in training to get all these players to have at least some sort of match fitness in their legs before they come onto this pitch. So Bolingoli, he's a half decent player. He's done well when he was in before. He was a little bit probably lack of responsibility in what he did. He was punished for it, but he's back now and he's the same as everybody else. And
for Rovers, John, as you were saying earlier, it's just key to keep their shape and to stay in the game.
Yeah, 100%, Kenny. Keep hanging the game as long as you can. They'll know they're going to be under the cosh, and Celtic will be at them. And as John McGlynn alluded to, they need to be brave. They need to get on that ball and pass it. If you keep giving it away and you're not brave, then Celtic's just going to keep coming at you and at you. And as we speak, the teams have come out and the disco lights are on and the atmosphere is absolutely rocking.
Sounds great, I have to say. Seeing the pictures come into the studio here looks fantastic at Celtic Park this evening. That is our commentary game. John Rankin will keep us updated on all the big talking points at Tannadice. Dundee United up against Hibs, a really interesting one that. We brought you the news last night. Rangers, the Holder, St Johnstone, they are both through. We'll have that semi-final draw for you later in the programme. But our main event this evening is a quarter-final tie between Celtic and Raith Rovers. Let's get to our commentary team of Pat Bonner, John Hughes, Jane Lewis and Paul Mitchell.
Thank you, Kenny. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Celtic Park. The disco lights have subsided just for now. John Hughes has ordered 3 cocktails already, inspired by the lights that were on. So it's going to be a good night here at Celtic Park, with Raith Rovers in their change kit, red and white stripes, red shorts and red socks, topped off with black. Celtic going to their huddle to the left-hand side, and once more the lights are dimmed and the spotlights form all the way around the huddle to our left-hand side. 16 clubs have won this tournament, 23 have reached the final, and it's a source of pride for Raith Rovers that their local rivals, Dunfermline Athletic, are the only team to get to 3 finals of the League Cup and lose all 3. 1994-95, Raith Rovers victory against Celtic. They haven't been back to the final nor the semi-final since those times. Raith Rovers will get ready to move from right to left as we watch on the main stand here at Celtic Park. It's Aidan Connolly in for Brad Spencer. The only change in the victory against Morton. Celtic have made 3 changes: Starfelt, Ralston, Montgomery, and for Welsh, Bolingoli and Ranovich. The applause as the players take the knee. Our referee David Munro checks with his assistants Ralph Gordon and Greg Aitken as we get ready to get underway. Ayeti chasing back Benedictus, and Benedictus inside onto Berra. Berra launches it long down that right-hand side, immediately knocks the ball out of play. Hearts captain in the Scottish Cup against Celtic. He's played in 3 Scottish Cup finals, never made a League Cup final. Christophe Berra trying to do so with Raith Rovers. Celtic have it through Cameron Carter-Vickers, back on to Joe Hart. Joe Hart plays the ball out wide to the left-hand side. Carl Starfelt is there. Back inside once more to Carter-Vickers. Forward onto Abada. Abada's been given space on this right-hand side. He's trying to get away from Zanata. Driving in and hits the ball off Liam Dick from the cross. And Pat Bonner, an early Celtic corner.
Yes, and that's typical Abada, getting the ball, open up in his first touch and going at the fullback. But Zanata had to get back to help his fullback, and that'll be, I would think, a feature. But in saying that, inside was Turnbull all on his own, picking up that midfield position.
Turnbull on the corner, it's deep. Benedictus heads the ball away, easily gathered by Celtic. Opportunity to open it up for Adam Montgomery. Back inside it comes Celtic. Starfelt on to Carter-Vickers. Carter-Vickers on to Abada once more. Abada tries to work 1-2 up at the edge of the box, trying to push it back out wide towards Turnbull. Raith Rovers have players there. Good play by Liam Dick to get the ball away. Breaks back into the midfield. Dylan Tate onto this near side. Zanata has it. Zanata got caught, just got bowled over there by Anthony Ralston, featured in 12 of 14 games for Celtic this season. Back in at right full back tonight. Raith Rovers won't hurry these free kicks. John Hughes, they'll just use this to take their time.
Yeah, you know, big Christophe Berra on there. You know, just looking to clip it forward, keep the shape when it goes forward, make sure you've got bodies behind it, up on the seconds.
Long it goes. Ethenberry wins the header. Celtic get it away through Ralston. Comes back on to Liam Dick. Dick heads it forward. Simple headed away by McCarthy. Celtic try and gather. Brought down by Turnbull. He's given it away though. Varian is there. Played out wide onto Zanata. Zanata tried to take it through the legs of Ralston. Ralston read it well. Rogic now turns, hooks the ball infield, but getting back very, very quickly indeed was Ross Matthews. Back onto Berra. Berra launches it forward, but Celtic are there and McCarthy. Simple little header back. Cameron Carter-Vickers just a little bit slow to get back up. We'll keep an eye on him as Celtic move the ball out on that far side. There's been a goal at Tannadice. Dundee United against Hibs. Who's gone ahead there?
It's Hibs that go ahead 1-0. The ball's been switched from the right hand side. Martin Boyle steps inside his man, plays out to the left hand side. Lewis Stevenson plays a clever pass down outside. It's cut back, and John Yule gets in to make a great finish. 1-0 Hibs.
Thanks, John. What a start for Hibs, leading by 1-0. There was no goals in the first half of the games last night in these quarter-finals. Off to a goal-scoring start. Celtic on the hunt, wide on that left-hand side. Jota, lovely little pass through the legs of Connolly. Celtic play into the box. Benedictus clears it. Carter Vickers looks to be okay, and he'll play it out wide onto Starfelt. Joe Hart has come forward. A little pass out onto Cameron Carter-Vickers once more, and out wide onto the left-hand side it goes. 0-0 here. Ball played down the channels. Jota is wide. Jota cuts inside Connolly. Little flick ball forward to Turnbull, wide on that left-hand side. Calling for it is Montgomery. Montgomery up towards the edge of the box, tries to work the 1-2 with Jota. Jota in fact takes it, turns, shoots, just shot wide. Lovely little interchange. Jota is still seeking his first Celtic goal, and Jamie McDonald scrambling across his goal, but the ball was wide.
Yeah, it was a good effort. Back to goal, just turns and doesn't even see the goal, just tries and almost maybe out of the corner of his eye he might have just seen one of the posts and tried to bend it in, but I think the goalkeeper had it covered. Just interesting again, you know, we talked about Celtic's fullbacks, and again tonight that's where they're picking up that almost midfield position when they have possession of the ball, and it just means that the two wide men for Raith Rovers, Zanata on one side and Conley on the other, they will have to help their fullback but also try to get good position in a deal with those fullbacks of Celtic who drop in there.
Well, gets lost out to Blaise Riley Snow. Now it's with Aidan Conley. Conley coming forward, but Turnbull is in there, does enough to play the ball back onto Cameron Vickers, and Vickers will play the ball on the inside. The opportunity now for Celtic to build again. Jota wide on that far side. Nearly 5 minutes gone. No scoring here. Hibs leading Dundee United by 1-0. Now it's gathered by Celtic onto the near side. Abada is there, immediately coming out as Liam Dick tries to force him backwards. That's what's happened, and it comes back again. The two centre halves interchange, played out wide. Jota is hugging that touchline. Regan Tumulty has to go out to try and gather. He's level with the penalty area, moving back towards the halfway line, passes it on to Starfelt, and inside it will come Carter Vickers. Hibs leading by 1-0. Joe Newell, the goal scorer. Celtic, there's a mistake there. Starfelt just thumped the ball at McCarthy. He couldn't control it, understandably. Varian got in there, and now it's Raith Rovers through Matthews onto Tate, halfway line, pulls out wide onto Zanata. Zanata coming down this left-hand side. He's got the support in the fullback. Ball was played inside. It bounces its way back onto Liam Dick. Good defending in the end by Ralston to come out, but careless play, Pat Bonner in the midfield. I mean, McCarthy had no chance of bringing that under control.
Yeah, and you've got to be sure when your last man passing the ball into midfield, the pass has got to have the right obviously accuracy, but it also has the right tempo on it, and that time to give it away. But it allows then Raith Rovers just to break into that sort of space. Here's a chance for them.
Tate up at the edge of the box, works the 1-2, passes the ball. It was always going to go wide. Joe Hart was looking for it, but John Hughes, nice movement from Raith Rovers.
Yep. As I say, they've started the game very, very well. You know, and that was a wee half chance there. That everything we talked about before the game, and they're getting on it. They're passing the ball. Ross Matthews in midfield started very, very well. But they're just going to have to keep their concentration. Celtic's been sloppy over the last couple of minutes. There's another one just passed out the pitch.
Out of play on the far side it goes. Celtic. Joe Hart in goal. The back four: Ralston, Carter Vickers, Starfelt and Montgomery. Turnbull, McCarthy and Rogic in the midfield. Abada and Jota on either side of Ayeti going through the middle. The visitors have the experienced Jamie McDonald in goal. Tumulty, Benedictus, Berra and Dick. And then it's Connolly, Tate, Matthews and Zanata sitting in front of Blaise Riley Snow. And Ethan Variant is the player up front. Celtic gather. Infield it comes, on to McCarthy from Ralston, back onto Carter Vickers. Carter Vickers up to Abada. Abada drops the ball back into the Celtic half. Raith Rovers quite happy for Celtic to have possession inside their own half. Starfelt now comes forward, low pass out wide onto Jota. Has been given an awful lot of space on that far side. Jota hits it off Blaise Riley Snow, back onto